This third one is a cross between linguistic and scientific. I'll just mention the linguistic aspect of this very quickly because it's not a big deal. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the only people surrounding him were people of either idol worshipping people, atheists, Christians, and Jews. The Christians and Jews were the more knowledgeable people. The idol worshippers were not an intellectual people. They were Bedouins in the Arab society. Even the Christians and the Jews at the time believed that the earth was the center of the universe. Okay? And this ayah comes down and says that the beginning of the ayah, this is Surah Yasin, Surah number 36. لَلشَّمْسُ يَنْبَغِي لَهَا أَن تُدْرِكَ الْقَمَرَ وَلَلَّيْلُ سَابِقُ النَّهَارِ. And then this part, وَكُلٌّ فِي فَلَكٍ يَسْبَحُونَ. The sun does not rebel its orbit that it may come before the moon. Neither does, and so that the day may be coming early, nor does the night come before the day, meaning they've got their appointed times. But in the beginning of the ayah, he's talking about light, the moon and the sun keeping their order, not coming out of their orbits. And then he talks about night and day not transgressing. When it's time for night, it's night. When it's time for day, it's day, and they don't transgress each other. They keep their limits. So far, he's talking about the sun and the moon and the earth and time, right? But then he says, وَكُلٌّ فِي فَلَكٍ يَسْبَحُونَ. And all of them meaning the earth, the moon, and the sun, because these are the three objects mentioned in the ayah. All of them are floating in their own orbits. وَكُلٌّ فِي فَلَكٍ يَسْبَحُونَ. All of them, falak means orbit, يَسْبَحُونَ to swim or to float. So all of them in their own orbits, they are floating. Now at the time, one belief was, the closer to scientific belief was, the sun is at the center of the universe. And yet Allah is going a step further at this time, 1500 years ago, and what's He saying? The earth has an orbit, the moon has an orbit, and the sun has an orbit. Right? Way ahead of its time. And this is the theme in scientific phenomena in the Qur'an. It's not talking about something so amazing to you now, but it's something to wonder that how is such an accurate depiction being given of a only lately discovered scientific phenomenon, or scientific phenomenon discovered much later to be mentioned in this text. And it's not something, again, this is not something that was boasted or talked about, or as soon as, for example, in Europe, there were other discoveries, Galileo and things like that. These discoveries did not lead Muslim scholars to say, aha, the Qur'an's been saying this all along. Because it was like, oh, yeah, we knew that. The book says it already. It wasn't something, a big deal. And I'm saying that because the scientific is only a recent emphasis. We shouldn't go overboard with the scientific thing. I'm just mentioning some phenomena that are commonly talked about, but it's not necessarily something you constantly, push. Then there's, of course, the famous ayah